All right, Chris here. We're back. Another trip to South Carolina with the Dark Horse, which means another video. I said before, I am in the process of relocating our family up into Fort Mill area in South Carolina, just outside Charlotte. So don't mind the wheel box in the background. Just burned some time here and wanted to talk about some Mustang stuff. So today's topic is about what kind of Mustang is best for you if you're looking to purchase a new Mustang, or a used Mustang rather, depending on what thousand price level you're looking at. So we're going to start at $20,000, work your way up in $10,000 increments, all the way up to $80,000. Obviously, there's the 60th anniversary of Mustang this year. Really exciting. 6th decade in a row that this car has been in production. There aren't many other cars out there in the world that can say that kind of iconic title like the Ford Mustang can. So it's a big year. With that said, there are plenty of used Mustangs to pick from out there. The used market still is hot for these cars. A lot of people do want to get their hands on them, and interest rates, as we know, are finally starting to drop a little bit, which makes these cars more attainable to more people, right? If the price of borrowing money is cheaper, then more people can go out and buy things. I want to put in the little precursor. Obviously, markets do change, pricing trends do change, but for now, we're just going to talk about the best cars you can get at each of those 1,000 price levels. So before we dive into 20,000, we'll start at the bottom, work our way up. Before we dive into the 20,000 level, I want to say anything under $20,000, it's a mixed bag. I really can't put a definitive, like, this is your best Mustang for $10,000 or $15,000, because there's such a wide gamut of cars, of Mustangs available in that particular price bracket. You could have a really, really nice, clean 99 to 04 GT2 valve for that price, which you would think if the thing's ratted out, it has 300,000 miles, you could be paying $1,500, $2,000 for it if it's not running. Or if it's a cream puff, you are getting close to that $15,000 to $20,000 price point just for a 2-valve 99 to 04 car. Same goes for the 05 to 09 3-valve GTs, and even starting to get into that Coyote realm. The Coyote's been out since 2011 now. You can pick up a used 2011 GT with 150, 180, 200,000 miles for under 20 grand. Granted, it has that high mileage, but if you want to get your hands on that Coyote and start getting your feet wet in that platform, it's a great way to go. But just be wary. There are a lot of things to look for when it comes to purchasing a Mustang, or any car rather, under that $20,000 price point. Check all your boxes, make sure you're making a good purchase. Again, I could put out a separate video on that. Comment below if that's something you want to hear about. Aside from that, at the $20,000 price point, I gotta say your best purchase, or your best bang for the buck when it comes to the $20,000 mark, or anything in that 20s, right? So 20 to 29,000, you would be looking at a 13 to 14 GT. So this is the pinnacle of S197, has those cool blacked out taillights in the rear, the HIDs up front for the fog lights, and HIDs for the headlights. Just clean look overall exterior. It was the top or the pinnacle of Gen 1 Coyote. They did some tweaks for 2013 that bumped power from 411 to 420 horsepower. And frankly, it's just a really good looking car. There's still an aftermarket for them. A lot of people are still modifying them. It's a really good platform for a great price. That solid rear axle, the last of the solid rear axle Mustangs, which is crazy to think about. And obviously some hand-me-down parts from the 2013 and 14 GT500. They are out in junkyards. There's still used parts available from those GT500 guys if you look hard in some of the Facebook groups and in Marketplace or on the forums. And frankly, it's just a really good bang for the buck. You can do a lot with those cars, whether it's straight line or turns. They're still very capable Mustangs. Now moving on up to the $30,000 price point, I would say your best bang for the buck at $30,000 would be a 2015 to 2017 GT. This is the Gen 2 Coyote, the first of S550 Mustang. Now again, you're kind of looking at different ranges of mileage or features on the car, depending on where you land in that $30,000 to $40,000 mark. But I would say that the 2015 to 2017 cars are very capable. The Gen 2 Coyotes are stout, and you can throw a tune on them and they'll be relatively reliable as long as you take care of them and all the proper maintenance. They respond well, nice shifters and all the right IRS components. Just an all-around great car. I would suggest getting the performance package if you plan on doing anything performance related, or if you don't get the performance package, you can't get your hands on one, get your hands on a performance package upgrade kit for those brakes, because they are absolutely amazing. And I can even say a lot of those S197 guys do upgrade to the 2013-14 6-piston GT500 brakes, or adapt the 15 plus 6-piston Brembos to their S197 with the front offset GT500 rotors from the 13-14 cars. With that said, the 15 to 17 GT is a great bang for your buck. I had one myself. It was a 2015 competition orange. It was a beautiful car and it sounded amazing. I had multiple exhaust systems on it, a Ford Racing catback as well as a MagnaFlow catback, and it's just a really, really good car. And frankly, there are still plenty of them out there that are still well taken care of. So if you can find one that was owned maybe perhaps by an older person that kept it relatively stock, a clean slate if you will, that way you can modify it to your own taste. Now with the 15 to 17 cars, one thing I always like to say to people who are asking, the S650 may be out. They are calling it the new 7th generation Mustang, and there are a lot of new things about the new S650 Mustang that the S550s don't have. But one thing that the S550s and the S650s share is the undercarriage, the chassis, meaning that support for the 15 plus cars is going to be going on for a while. That means aftermarket part availability, that means OE part availability, so when the time comes that you are replacing components that, you know, wear out over time, bushings or shocks or anything like that, if you aren't looking to upgrade, then you can pick up the OE part relatively easy through your Ford dealer, or there are aftermarket support available too. You still have that option. And with the X650 being around for at least the foreseeable future, being that 24 is the first year for it, you're going to have that support for S550 for a while. Now, moving on to the $40,000 price point, we're going to bump it up a little bit. The 15 to 17 is that Gen 2 Coyote. It's stout, makes 435 horsepower. It is a bump up over that 420, but for the $40,000 price point, you're going to get a little bit better. The Gen 3 Coyote, 2018 to 2020 or 21 GT S550, that's the way to go if you are looking at that $40,000 price point. Again, these numbers are high. They aren't what they used to be even 5 years ago. You can thank inflation for that. But with that $40,000 price point, you are getting a lot for your money in that 18 to 21 GT. I will say the reason why I'm not including 22 and 23 is obviously because they are newer. They're going to be a little bit more expensive, at least in the time of shooting this video. And you get that little drop in power as well, kind of a negative. So if you are looking for as much power as you can get for the dollar, then at least in stock form, then you're looking at for 40, that 18 to 21 GT. The Gen 3 Coyote is super stout, makes 460 horsepower, quite a bit of a jump over the 435 horsepower in the Gen 2 Coyote in those 15 to 17 cars. The 2018 refresh was very impressive in that it offered a lot of additional technology to the Mustang. You had the digital dash for the first time ever in the Mustang, as well as active exhaust. They tested that out with the GT350 and just had basically normal or sport. But with the introduction of the 18 Mustang, you have that active exhaust. You have quiet mode, or that good neighbor mode as they called it. normal, sport, track, all those different active exhaust modes that we see in the new cars started back in 2018. The other cool thing is MagneRide. You also have that option starting in 2018. Pre-2018, you're looking at, if you want MagneRide, it's just the GT350. So it's kind of a really good bang for your buck. I would say a sweet spot, if you will, if you're looking in the last 10 years and you're around that $40,000 to $50,000 price point. A Gen 3 Coyote, stick car, automatic, depending on what you're going to do with the car. 460 horsepower. It's just a great bang for your buck. It responds very well to mods, E85 included, thanks to that dual injection between direct and port side. Now, if you're bumping things up to that $50,000 price point, honestly, you're looking at the pinnacle of S550 naturally aspirated Mustang, and that is the 2021 Mach 1. The reason why I don't say 22 or 23 is because they did see that little drop in horsepower thanks to some EPA regulations. So if you're looking for the maximum horsepower for your $50,000 to $60,000 range, a 2021 Mach 1 is the way to go. They have the Tremec transmission available for the manual cars, as well as the 10R80. You get hand-me-downs from the GT350 in terms of cooling and some of the aero bits. For example, the spoiler and the gurney flap on the handling pack cars is the same one you get on the 19 and 20 GT350. And it's just a good-looking car. It's a very comfortable car. It offers all the best things from a premium upscale GT cruiser car and all of the nice things, or all of the performance-oriented things from a GT350, or if you go with the handling pack, a GT350R. You're looking at very sticky wheels and tires with those Cup 2s, as well as the performance suspension you get with the GT350R tweaked for the Mach 1. You have the option of the automatic, which makes it one heck of a contender both on track and off track, or straight line, depending on what you like to do with your car. There's a lot of different things you can do with the 2021 Mach 1 that makes it such a great value for the money, being that it is literally the best of naturally aspirated S550 Mustang. Now let's move on to 60,000, because we're still going to be talking about naturally aspirated S550 Mustang, but what makes it a little bit more special, or rather a little bit more performance oriented, is why you would want to get it. We're talking about the GT350R. Now, depending on which year, and if you have the Gen 2 and the 2019 Plus, that probably will have an effect on whether you're spending closer to that 50 or closer to that 60. But if you can get your hands on a GT350R for that price, they're out there, they're obtainable, depends on how well they're taken care of and all that good stuff. You're getting a great value for your money. It is an incredibly unique experience driving a GT350 or a GT350R. Between the carbon fiber wheels and the immediate response you get in steering thanks to those wheels, as well as the 5.2 liter Voodoo flat plane crank engine, there's so many different things about that car that make it so incredibly special, arguably one of the most special late model Mustangs out there. Now, there is a downside. One thing to keep in mind if you are purchasing a GT350 is you may want to opt for that drivetrain warranty, and be careful about what drivetrain modifications you do, or I should say powertrain, in terms of a tune and things like that. Voodoo does have kind of a bad reputation for leaving people on the side of the road. I'm one of those people, but if you take care of it, if you check your oil, make sure that oil is at a good level at all times, keep an eye on heat, and take great care of your car, then it will return the favor to you. Not to say that I didn't do that. I guess I drew the short end of the stick, but with that said, I always will have a soft spot in my heart for the GT350 and GT350R. It is one amazing machine, and frankly, from a performance standpoint, and when driving it wide open on track, there's nothing like it. And in terms of modifications, it's kind of already set up and ready to roll. You may want to put some different wheels and tires on it if you do get the 350R with the carbon fiber wheels. If you do curb one of those wheels or have any issues out on track with one, they are quite expensive to replace, although there's a lot of benefits if you do run them out on track that I said earlier. but I would recommend picking up a separate set of wheels, maybe a set of Apex forged wheels or some other flow form wheel that'll allow you to get the job done. It's relatively lightweight, much more lightweight than your average cast or flow form wheel from an OE, but maybe not quite as light as those factory carbon fiber wheels that you would see on a GT350R. Now, moving up to the $70,000 price point. This is a lot of money for a Mustang, I'm not gonna lie. I really haven't talked much about the new S650 Mustangs in this video because frankly, I'm more zeroed in on the used market. Between 60 and 70,000, you can get a very well-equipped GT Premium with all of the bells and whistles. But at the $70,000 price point, I'd say your best bang for your buck would be the Dark Horse. If you can swing it with the handling package, it's definitely doable. Just a matter of how many premium features you have in the car, like leather seats or the Recaros, or if you have the Blue Ember with the appearance package and things like that. But at that $70,000 price point, you are getting one heck of a machine. I'm driving one right now and I am absolutely in love with this car. More than a GT350 in some ways, yes. I would say in most ways, yes. There's definitely still some things I miss about my old 350, but with the Dark Horse and everything it offers out of the box from a comfort standpoint and the 6-hour drive I'm literally doing right now to out on track in an autocross, it is an absolute blast to drive and very, very quick for what it is. I'm very excited to take it out to more autocrosses this year after we get moved up into the Charlotte area and get some Yokohama AO52s on there, start racing competitively in KMC and see where I fall among the ranks. I'll keep you guys posted on that. But aside from that, Dark Horse handling pack is a great value for the $70,000 if you can get over the fact it is 70 grand. Inflation's unfortunately a reality in today's world, and you know, Ford has to raise their prices too, just like every other OE. It's just a reality we all have to face. So if you are cross shopping a GT350 or GT350R with the Dark Horse, it is a little bit apples to oranges because you are shopping a brand new car versus a used car, especially a 20 GT350. That's a 3-year-old car now at this point. So with warranties and things like that in mind, it's a little bit of an apples to oranges comparison. If you are more performance oriented, yeah, you might like the 350 better. So with all that said, Dark Horse, $70,000 price point. And last but certainly not least, the $80,000 price point. Yes, we are talking $80,000 for a Mustang. That is a lot of money, absolutely no doubt. I will be the first to tell you, it's crazy to me to think that someone's spending $80,000 on a Mustang, but that is today's world. And if you want your hands on, you guessed it, a GT500, then that's what you're going to be looking at least in today's market, for a well-equipped, low-mileage GT500. For the base GT500, we all know it was the pinnacle of everything S550. Ford took the book and threw it at the car, and the result is one amazing power plant, one amazing driving car, especially if you opt for the carbon fiber track pack or the handling pack they offered in 22 and I believe 23. But all in all, it is the best Mustang out there, with the exception of the GTD that just came out this past year. Now, 760 horsepower, dual clutch transmission. These are things and numbers that we've never talked about on a Mustang before, at least when it came out in 2020. 760 horsepower is absolutely no slouch. Ford had their eyes set on the Hellcat and blew it out of the water. The Hellcat is a living room couch that rolls down the highway, and it does a great job at what it is. but the GT500 is not only a straight line machine, but it also performs incredibly well out on track. To handle 4,000 plus pounds and do it with grace, with the right suspension, the right damping, the right Magnaride calibration, and then telling the DCT to do all the right things is no easy task. And I commend the Ford Performance team for getting it right when it comes to the 20 plus GT500. If you have 80 grand to spend and you want to be in a Mustang, get yourself a 20, 21, or 22 GT500. It is an absolute beast and so much fun to drive. It's insane to hear a Mustang shift that quickly with a dual clutch. It's just out of this world. Do I wish that the 20 plus GT500 had a manual transmission? Of course I do. What purist wouldn't? But you can't argue with the fact that the dual clutch transmission is going to shift way faster than you ever could with an old school stick shift. And at the end of the day, with a car like that, out on track, hunting down 911 GT3 RSs and everything else that it has in its crosshairs, you're going to want that dual clutch to do the job. Now, we covered a lot of information here today, and all of it is subjective, which frankly I love that because it offers more conversation in the comments to allow what you think for whatever price point would be the best bang for the buck. I would love to hear what you guys think. Please comment below. Let me know your thoughts. If you think I'm out of my mind for, you know, a dark horse at $70,000, you can buy so many better Mustangs for that, or down in the $30,000 and $40,000 price point, you know, you should be looking at something else instead of a 15 to 17 or 18 to 21. Please let me know. And frankly, what Mustang are you driving? I would love to know. Or what are you shopping for? I'm here to help. I love doing this sort of thing. And if you have any interest in seeing more videos like this or more on the dark horse in the future, please consider subscribing. Would love to have you on board. Hit that like and again subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you next time.